Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Get Caught Up with Nay. Episode review in 15 minutes or less. So, we are reviewing Love during Lockup with the new season, a new cast. So, we're starting off with the second episode of Love and During Lockup, and it starts off with Teeny and Rob's story. And actually, it's starting off with Teeny and Rob's mom meeting and continue to talk. And she left off Rob's mom by talking about Rob's ex-girlfriend and how she was there for her and did so much, and she can just see the difference between his ex-girlfriend and Teeny. And that set Teeny the fuck off. She got the fuck up. She was leaving. She's like, I don't have to sit here for this shit. Like, I ain't asked to be here anyway. I'm leaving. It's completely disrespectful for you to bring up her name. I'm his wife. So Rob's mom's like, well, come back, Teeny. We're talking and this and that. She wants to finish the conversation. So Teeny sits back down. She let her know, like, I'm really pissed off. Like, that was unnecessary. That was uncalled for. She has nothing to do with this relationship. Her name should never be brought up with my name. So the mom said apologize, and they come to an understanding. And Rob's mom realizes that Teeny's right, that she is his wife, and she has been doing a lot more stuff for Rob that his own mama ain't done for him. Therefore, she can't talk that much. So she says she'll just communicate with her and they can work on it, and she would like Teeny to tell Rob to up her weekly allowance from 100 to 175. And when Teeny said, okay, I got you, I relayed a message. Oh, mama's her opinion sure did change around a little bit. She's like, I might like her, maybe. So yeah, Teeny gets home, and I guess she hasn't heard from Rob like all day, or maybe even in a whole day. And she's pissed about that because it's like, I didn't want to meet with your mom in the first place, and then you don't even call and find out how the meeting went, how it went. It really went terrible, and she's just pissed off. So she unconnects the videos and the video cameras in the house and all of that. So when he calls, of course, he's like, well, you gonna call the internet and find out why the videos ain't connecting and I can't see nobody or see nothing in the house. And she like, no, because I'm gonna tell you right now, Jody, I'm the one that disconnected the cameras. That so reminded me of Baby Boy when she said that. Like, no, we don't need to call the internet company because I'm the one that disconnected the cameras. And he's like, well, what you do that for? She's like, cause, like, you ain't called me, none of this and that. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I should have called. Especially if all that went down with my mom like you say it did. What you mean? Yeah, that happened. What are you going to do to try to fix it? And he's like, well, I'm sorry about that, but I just need you to hold on a little bit longer till I get there. And she's like, well, I don't understand why I'm just not finding out about this allowance that you give your mom, about all this different stuff. I feel like we're not communicating. I thought we had great communication, but apparently we do not. And he's like, well, I'm going to tell you everything when I get home. And she's like, well, why you got to wait till we get home? No, tell me now. And he's like, there's things I'm going to tell you when I get home. And then she like, well, that's only a few weeks away. He like, well, I spoke to my PO, and the best decision is for me to stay in here for another 2 months. That way I'm not on probation, and I don't have to check in with the PO for the rest of my sentences if I get out in 3 weeks. So now she's pissed all over again, because what you mean, 3 weeks versus 8 weeks is completely different. We had things planned. Her daughter's birthday is coming up, and she thought he was going to be there for that, but he's not. So now she got to go and disappoint her kids. So I completely get that. Rob tells us he got a secret. He tells us, he still ain't told Teeny, that he has his ex the mama so wanted to speak of so highly of. He has her picture, a portrait of her tattooed on his right shoulder blade. And Teeny hasn't seen it. Teeny knows nothing about it. He makes sure he covers it up every time he's speaking to her, whenever he ain't got no shirt on, blah, blah, blah. So, that's a secret he gonna have to tell Teeny. And she ain't gonna like it. I know that by now. 15 minutes or less. So, our next couple is gonna be Ayana and Jamal. Ayana is about to get ready to go to court in the next day or so. So she has her friend Lexi that she works with comes pick her up to take her to her mom's house so that she can get things ready and in motion to go to court. Because again, she's going to either go to jail for 15 days or 90 days, period, point blank, because there's no way for her to fight the case now that she has two DUIs. So she's talking about she got to make sure Jamal good on his books and all of that. So she's gonna go put money on his books for the next 15 days. So she's manifesting that she's gonna get 15 days and not 90 days. And her friend's like, well, what if you get to 90 days? She's like, well, you're gonna have to figure it out because I'm gonna be clearly locked up. So then Jamal calls her while she's on the call with her friend, and her friend decides she wants to talk to him. Like, hi, I'm her friend. I'm just trying to see what's up. Like, you say you love her, but I really don't understand because you only been official for a few months. And she always goes so hard for every dude she in a relationship with and just be left disappointed. So what makes you so different? And he like, well, I love her. I'm gonna marry her, period. So you can just get your bridesmaid dress in order. So blah 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 blah. And I am Ayana over there eating it up, of course. And her friend like, okay, sure. And she get her little one-on-one confession, and she's like, well, I think Ayana's just tripping. Like, her life really is in a fucking mess right now, and the only thing she worried about is Jamal, and it don't make no sense to me. He's in jail. Any man's gonna talk your head off and tell you what you want to hear while he locked up. But as soon as she get locked up, I believe he's gonna be talking to other females. So then they get to her mom's house, and Ayana lets us know that she had her son when she was 17 years old, and she dealt with postpartum depression. So the best thing for her and her son was for her son to live with her mom. Now her son is 9 years old now, and he still doesn't live with her. Her 2-year-old daughter does, but not her 9-year-old son, because apparently it's the best option for them all. I don't agree with that. If you can take care of one, you can take care of both. And he's a 9-year-old boy. He needs to be with his mother. But 15 minutes or less. So she gets to her mom's house and she tells her mom. Well, actually, she gets to her mom's house and she goes upstairs to do her video call with Jamal that she's just been so pressed with to make it to. And they talk, and she is a horny little thing. Like, the first thing she doing is trying to see his eggplant, and clearly she don't care. Like, she's very hard-headed, very stubborn, and she gonna do what the fuck she want, no matter at whose cost it is, as long as she get what she want. And that's a problem, clearly. So yeah, so then she asks him, well, what you gonna do if I get locked up? Like, when I get locked up, either for the 15 days or the 90 days. Like, you gonna be talking to other females? And he's like, well, I'm gonna be on the phone, but it ain't gonna be with no females. Come on now, like, we all know. She knew. She like, I know how he is. I just know that he better not be talking to no other chicks, because if I find out, I'm gonna be in jail even longer. She goes downstairs to talk to her mom, and she lets her mom know, hey, I know you already got Darren, my son, and I appreciate that. I thank you, but I gotta go do this stint, and I really need you to watch my daughter too. And her mom's like, of course I'm gonna be there for my grandkids. So when are you gonna grow up and learn that you can't just do whatever you feel, because it comes at the detriment of other people around you? And she's like, how am I supposed to control getting caught smoking weed? Don't smoke weed in the car. Well, yeah, I know now after you done got caught twice, and now you going to jail, and now we all got to pick up the pieces around you. And her mom's like, you got to get it together. I'm not gonna be here your whole life to pick up your pieces. She gets pissed. Oh yes, you are, because you're my mother. And she's like, and I'm gonna always have your back, and I'm gonna always support you, and I'm gonna always do for my grandkids, but I don't have to. And there's things that you do that it affects other people, and I can't be the one that's going to be there to pick it all up. And she said, well, that's why I got my man Jamal for that, because apparently she's expecting him to get out and be her knight in shining armor when he's been in jail for the past year. But okay, 15 minutes or less. Our next couple is going to be a new couple, Rick and Samantha. They're a little older. I believe they're like in their 50s, but they've known each other since And I believe he said middle school, but we're just going to go with high school because apparently that is where everybody knows each other from. So they reconnected after 35 years. He's going shopping, Rick, with his two nieces because he has no kids. Um, and one of the nieces is a correctional officer, so she's like letting him know, like, I'm just worried that you're going to get played because I read these messages all day long how these men and these women are getting messages and phone calls from their husbands and wives, and they're also speaking to other men and women, and they're also in all these kind of entwined situations, and I just don't want that to happen to you. And he's like, okay, I can understand where you're coming from, but I really like her and all of this. So then she calls Samantha and they all meet each other on the phone, and he's like, well, I gotta go. Did you get your package that I sent you for your little what did he call it? He called it a little trust. He has a little trust set up for Samantha. He sends her money on a weekly or something like that. And that sent a red flag to the niece. Is like, well, how much money are you sending her? And he's like, I send her like $100 a month. They're unsure about this. They're really worried about him because he used to be a very big alcoholic, which he has overcome, and he's sober, but he almost lost his life trying to get clean, or just while he was in his alcoholic bats or whatever. So Samantha also is an alcoholic, maybe recovering alcoholic, maybe sober, because her arrest is on DUI charges. So they're worried about her getting out and influencing him to go back to his old ways. Then he tells his nieces that he's going to marry her. He's already proposed to her and they're expecting to get married. And they're just like, oh my God, they don't know how this is going to end. Our next couple was going to be Joey and Michael. And they get on their video call and they talk about Michael meeting Joey's family on the last visit. And Michael's like, I think it went as good as it could ever go. I mean, this isn't the best circumstances to meet somebody, but it had to be done. So I'm glad we got it out the way. And then Joey tells him once he got off the video chat with them, his relapse came up. And Michael's like, well, why did you do that? And he's like, well, I really didn't. My sister did, so I had no choice but to come out with it. And he's like, well, did your family think it was my fault? And he's like, no, they know that, it's a personal issue. It's my own issue, so no, they didn't think it's your fault. Michael says, well, I wouldn't blame them if they think it was my fault, which sent red flags in my mind. Cause then Joey's like, well, what's up with your parole? Or, like, what's going on? He's like, well, I meet with the parole board, and once I meet with them, they can tell me, whether it could be 6 months or longer, but that's when I'll find out. And then Michael tells us on the side that Joey don't know that he possibly could be in there for another 6 years. Fucking fucked up. That's so fucked up. You don't just not tell somebody that. You have him waiting around for you for 6 years because you're too scared to tell him that. That's fucked up. So then we're on our last couple, Shantae and True. And Shantae goes and meets with a restaurant advisor. It looks like she meets with an African restaurateur. And she meets with her and she's showing her around the restaurant. She asks us what her specialty in cooking was, and she says she wants to do down south food like shrimp and grits and stuff, because where she's from nobody knows anything about that. So that's the type of cuisine she wants to sell. And she's also opening the restaurant with her boyfriend who's in jail, and she just wants to get some background information on owning a restaurant, what that looks like. And at that time, while they're talking about this, True calls. So then the restaurant advisor speaks to True, and she asks him what's up with him, and he's like, well, I'm trying to figure out how soon can we look to make a profit after opening our restaurant. She says, well, to be honest, like, it's probably going to take at least 2 years to actually start making a profit. And he's like, what you mean 2 years? I'm thinking, I'm going to get out and we're going to be making money right away. So Shantae's like talking to the advisor later after she gets off the phone with True, and she's like, well, this is my dream and this is my passion. I'm not worried about the profit. I know that's going to come eventually. I just know that this is what I want to do. So then Shantae meets her up with her stepbrother, who was locked up with True, which is how she met True, because he's the one who hooked him up, basically. True calls while she's meeting with her stepbrother, and she tells him, like, hey, I'm sitting here with my brother. So they get off the phone, and the brother a little irritated, like, I don't know, like, if you even know this dude like that, like, I'm trying to make sure you're not about to get caught up in that. And she's like, well, what you mean? Like, you're the one that hooked us up, so how can you say, yeah, well, I didn't expect y'all to get this deep. He was like, I just wanted you to be able to talk to somebody so you wasn't lonely and all of this, but now y'all really doing the damn thing, and now this nigga about to come home, and I'm just trying to give you a heads up as my sister that, you know, there's some things with him that you might need to know. Don't slow nothing down for me and True. Like, that's still my man. I'm still waiting for him to get out. But now I'm starting to think like you got something to tell me and you need to let me know because I want to know. Like, you my brother, you done set me up with this man and this man about to come home and now all of a sudden you want to tell me he got some secrets. But that's y'all's review in 15 minutes or less. Let me know what y'all want me to review. Leave your comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe to my channel, y'all. I don't got no subscribers. And thank you for reviewing this episode with me in 15 minutes or less. It's your girl, Nay, and I'm out.